Thank you. Welcome here today. First of all, I would like to put what we're going to talk about here today in context and tell about personal suborbital spaceflight. And we have a presentation which will give you all the sort of background you need to know about what this is all about. It's here in Kiruna that Virgin Galactic was not only looking to fly these vehicles in the United States, but also were looking for sites around the world where flights could be done. We contacted Virgin and started the discussion during last year, which has led up to the establishment of Spaceport Sweden by 4 companies here in Kiruna, which have the expertise to work together with Virgin. And I'd like to present these 4 companies and I'll say organizations here in Kiruna. We've compiled this picture, which gives you an imagination of what will it be like when you're up there in a spaceship above Kiruna, let's say 130 kilometers up. If you look north, you will actually be able to see up to approximately Spitsbergen, to the Svalbard Islands. And of course, you'll see the whole of Norway north of us. Looking south, you will see as far south as Stockholm and the whole of the Botnian Gulf. Looking west, we will see Lofoten and the mountain range between Norway and Sweden. That'll be an amazing sight. And looking east, you'll see well into Russia. You'll see the whole Kola Peninsula, way back to Murmansk, and the whole of Finland as well. We'll actually be able to see approximately down to Helsinki. So it'll be an amazing view from this vantage point. These are Google Earth pictures, so that's why the sky is blue here. In reality, the sky will be pitch black. Something that is unique up here is the Northern Lights. And that is something that we will take advantage of. The Northern Lights is amazing to see from the ground, and they've been studied scientifically, for example, by the Swedish Institute of Space Physics here in Kiruna. And also they've been viewed from space, from space shuttle and space station astronauts. This is what the aurora looks like, looking down from the International Space Station. But what we will be able to do, and the astronauts that fly in these spaceships, is to actually fly into the aurora. The flight path and the altitude these spaceships fly at will mean that you will actually be more or less inside the aurora or very near it, and be able to look at something that no one has ever seen before, and that is the aurora from sideways, where you're actually at the same level as it. As we speak right now, we're opening up a new web page, the website of Spaceport Sweden, where you can read all about our services, the infrastructure, and where we're going to go from here. As of today, we're open for business. Thank you.
President of the Swedish Space Corporation, Mr. Claes-Göran Borg. Welcome. Sorry, we will have to put up this so that you can write down. Here we go.
Okay. Of course, this is a very important first step on our route to space tourism, and we are extremely happy to be able to sign this agreement with you today. A lot of things will start happening from now on, and one of the first things that you might be seeing is that approximately 1 year from now we will have a first test rocket launched from SRF to do measurements in the aurora, and also actually to take the first photos, not from above as you saw there, and not from below, but actually from within the aurora. And this will also be an extraordinary event, and we will welcome you all to that as well.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say a couple of words now about the Virgin Galactic project and about our colleagues in Sweden. I'll be talking in a few minutes about the project in much more detail, but the vision of Virgin Galactic is to create a new type of space launch system, much more environmentally friendly than anything done before, and capable not only of taking people into space, but also science and payload. And I am amazed by the reaction that we have had here in Sweden to the concept of Virgin Galactic. Let me just say one thing, it was not Virgin's idea to come here. It was the Swedish Space Corporation that approached us and convinced us that Kiruna is open for business, is a fantastic location, and can provide all the right elements for our customers in the near future, and eventually a great working partnership together to also do further work with Spaceship 2 and the derivatives we take from it. So this has been Sweden's entrepreneurialism that has led Virgin Galactic to this place, and I'm very proud to be here. Thank you. Now shall we sign? Congratulations. This is actually also the first agreement that Virgin Galactic has signed with any party outside the United States. Our plan is to start flying our spaceships from the Mojave Desert, where the spaceship is currently under construction and will be unveiled to the public in December of this year. Outside of the United States, we're looking at a number of locations to fly from. As a touring project, one of the fantastic things about this space system is that we can carry it on its White Knight aircraft anywhere in the world. But Sweden is going to be the first place it comes after the United States. Our home base in the United States will be in New Mexico, just north of Las Cruces beside the White Sands missile base, where the state of New Mexico is building a purpose-built spaceport. But the lovely thing about the location here is we don't need to purpose build anything. It is all here already. So this is going to be a very exciting location for us.
On us all. The attention around him has been and is enormous. And I hope that Spaceport Sweden will provide the opportunity for more people to share his experience. Mr. Fuglesang's journey has increased the interest for research and technology. And it's great to see all the students from Kiruna Space High School among us here today. The technology and technological breakthroughs of tomorrow will be made by those who are young today. As the Space Minister, but also the Minister of Tourism of the Swedish government, I welcome the agreement between the Swedish Space Corporation and Virgin Galactic, and now we can see the opening of the Spaceport Sweden. I really hope that this will be successful. And of course, the space journey from Kiruna Spaceport will be a splendid attraction for tourists who want to see the aurora much closer than we can see it from here, who can combine their journey to space with a night at the Ice Hotel, visiting Esrange, visiting the mine, eating all the splendid food that we have in this region. So I feel quite confident to say that the city of Kiruna is really in the move. I'm also happy to see all the cooperation between so many entrepreneurial partners. It is so important to have dreams. If we have dreams, I think we can fulfill many of them. But if we don't, we will not. So just say thank you to all of you that have all these dreams. And maybe you don't come exactly to the point that you have pointed out, but I think we will come close. And I just want to promise you, I will do my very best to fulfill these dreams. And I think it's important for all of us that you have shown us that dreams are important and we can do it if we want to. So thank you once again. And they have asked me, if you would have the chance to go there, would you? And I said, well, I'm too curious to say no. So let us open this event and say like this. I'm proud to announce that Spaceport Sweden is open for business. And now I need some help from you to count. So let me count down. And we start with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
One of the unique things about Spaceship Two, as you can see, the size of it is quite extensive. The spaceship under construction at the moment in the Mojave Desert is pretty near to completion. And we've designed the interior in a very unique way. One of the things about the interior of this spaceship is that we're going to give people the chance to actually leave their seats and drift weightless in the cabin for a number of minutes while they're up in the top of the curve. They'll be about 130 kilometers above the Earth. And when they're in space, the seats that they have ridden up in will actually sink back into the floor. And we can show that happening now. So as they achieve weightlessness at about 130 kilometers above the Earth, the seats will sink down and they will literally be able to leave their seats freely and float around in the cabin. They will be able to get a view of every aspect. They'll be able to see the universe above them. And actually from that altitude you'll actually be able to see other galaxies, because even with the human eye, you will not have the problem of the atmosphere being in the way. So you will see the galaxies around you. Just looking down below, whatever angle the spaceship is at, you'll be able to look even down through the floor. You'll have windows in the floor, windows on the side, and windows above. When you cease to be weightless, you'll have about 30 seconds to get back into your seat, and you will stay in this position all the way down. The unique thing about Spaceship Two is that Spaceship Two, when it's in space, changes shape into what we call a shuttlecock design. And as a shuttlecock, you come back into the Earth's atmosphere, lying in your seat, to minimize the G-forces on your body. And then, when we're at 50,000 feet, the passengers will not even notice as the spaceship reforms into a glider, and you have an unpowered glide back into the Earth. And I think one of the really exciting things about the technology is that by using modern composite materials and using a unique rocket motor, which is benign and safe and environmentally friendly compared to any existing solid fuel motors, we will be able to take 8 people into space for the same CO2 output as a single business class ticket from Stockholm to New York. Now, compared with the shuttle mode, the shuttle takes that number of people into space for the same CO2 output as the whole of the city of New York for 5 days. So this is a dramatic improvement. And if it was just taking people into space, one might question whether it was worth it. I think it's worth it anyway, because we must get more people to understand our planet and see it, and understand the holistic Gaia nature of it, that it works as one organism. So I think space tourism is justifiable just for fulfilling that dream. But the really exciting thing is that we know we need science and payload and satellites in space if we're going to solve the problems of this planet. And this system is going to be able, we believe in the future, to also launch small satellites at a fraction of both the environmental and cash money cost that has been achieved to date. So it really is a technology of the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And may I ask you some questions?
Yes.
How long will it take to come up to the space?
It'll take, basically, from the time you leave the ground here at Kiruna to the time you return, the whole trip will be 2 hours. But actually going up to space itself is a 45-minute flight on the aircraft. And the aircraft, called a White Knight aircraft, that's being built at the moment based on the prototype that we saw earlier. The aircraft is also able to carry the next day's passengers to let them familiarise themselves with an identical cabin that's in the aircraft. So therefore we save on training costs and environmental costs of training. And it'll also be able to carry passengers who can just come and watch the space launch from Kiruna as well. And that aircraft, after 45 minutes, gets to the altitude of just under 20,000 meters, or about 60,000 feet for the Americans in the audience. And at that altitude, it launches the spaceship, which goes from doing about 120 knots when it's dropped to the speed of sound in 6 seconds, and then goes into space in about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Your whole experience in space will be a total of about 15 minutes before you reform into a glider, and then spend about 25 minutes gliding back down to Kiruna. It will really be, I think, a stunning experience for people.
You want to go?
I'm going. My boss, Sir Richard Branson, is going on the inaugural commercial flight, but some of us have to go on the test flying program first.
Another question is, can you use this technology, as you see it now, can you use this technology for the public space, the public air transportation? Because if you use this materials and so on, it would be less consumption of fuel.
Yeah, well, one of the really exciting things long term,
yes,
and one of the reasons amongst many that Virgin has decided to make this investment of $200 million in developing this technology, is that there is the prospect that over the next 20 years this could be developed into a system which could carry people around the planet from point to point without having to use the atmosphere. The only part of the atmosphere you have to use is just to get them up to the altitude in a very large aircraft. Then we fly them on a parabola through space to say land at Sydney, Australia in 2 hours. And this would be a really exciting long-term development.
Well, thank you for doing this. I'm so happy that you are creating all these new ideas, and I think we need people like you and Mr. Bronson and all the others around you, because, as I told you, we need to have dreams, and if we want to develop such things, we need to promote all these entrepreneurs that want to do this. So thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for the support of the Swedish government as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Can I sit there?
Yes, yes, you can sit in it.
Maybe this is the only time I have the chance to sit here.
This is indeed. And perhaps
I feel quite safe.
And perhaps we should lower the seat as well.
Oh, here you see the stars.
Here you will see the stars.
Yeah.
Sadly, we can't show you the aurora today.
That's great.
But when you're up there...
Oh, and I'm going down.
You are going down there.
Oh, this is great. You should try this. Bye-bye. Oh, this is great.
I'm afraid it will not be quite as comfortable as Virgin Atlantic's business class to New York, but...
Oh, this is enough. Oh, this is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And be successful.
Thank you.
We do this, so we would